Opinions are like buttholes. Everybody's got one, and everybody's got one about the 30-0 Miami, Ohio Redhawks and whether or not they should get an at-large spot in the NCAA tournament if they don't win an auto bid out of the MAC conference tournament. I'm not only going to give you guys my opinion, I'm going to look at all of the past regular season undefeated teams since the tournament expanded to 68 teams and see what seed they got in the tournament and how they did, and look at their strength of schedule too and compare it to Miami, Ohio's resume this year, and we will determine, is Miami, Ohio an anomaly, two undefeated teams in the regular season, or are they just really underrated and underseeded this season? We will get to the bottom of it. I'm ready to get into it. Subscribe, hit that like button if you guys enjoy a ton of college basketball content here on the channel. Let's go. Most recent team to go undefeated in college basketball before this year was the 2021 Gonzaga Bulldogs. This was a team that ended up getting the top overall seed in the March Madness tournament, and they had a number 82 strength of schedule in college basketball. They ended up going all the way to the national championship game and losing to the Baylor Bears, which was their first loss of that season. Like I said, they got the top overall seed. They definitely had a much better strength of schedule than Miami, Ohio at 82, whereas Miami, Ohio is 285th. So definitely a much better team, but they did end up getting that top overall seed. The next team, national championship in college basketball, they did get the top overall seed in the March Madness tournament as well that year. Of course, they won seed, and they made it all the way to the Final Four, where they did end up losing to Frank Kaminsky and the Wisconsin Badgers. They had an outstanding strength of schedule. They were number 23 in strength of schedule that year, went undefeated through the regular season all the way to the Final Four before finally dropping their first game. Definitely a much better resume than Miami, Ohio. These teams do not compare. The next team was actually just the year before in 2014. We saw Wichita State, the Shockers, go undefeated. Now, here's where we do get another mid-major that did go undefeated, where we can kind of compare it to Miami, Ohio. They did end up getting a 1 seed in that year's tournament as well, and they did have a number 119 strength of schedule, and I know that is still over 150 spots better than Miami, Ohio, but it is getting closer. They ended up going to the Sweet 16 before losing their first game of the season. The big factor in this one that is much different than Miami, Ohio is that the year before that, Wichita State did make the Final Four, and they were bringing back a lot of the guys from that team. So for them to make the Final Four, have a lot of the same guys on the roster, and go undefeated, of course, they earned the 1 seed. So I'm not saying Miami, Ohio deserves a 1 seed. We will get to the bottom of that here as we go through the rest of these teams. But I do believe they 100% deserve an at-large bid no matter what happens for the last game of the regular season and in the MAC tournament. Next team to go undefeated was in 1991. It was the UNLV Running Rebels, and they did end up getting a 1 seed. Every single one of these teams get 1 seeds for going undefeated during the regular season. They ended up making it to the Final Four that year before taking their first loss, and they did have a number 72 strength of schedule that season. I will say back then, there were less teams in Division I, but they still did have a much better strength of schedule. And we will go over one team that did go undefeated in the regular season before the tournament expanded to 68 teams, because it does compare, and that was the 1979 Indiana State team that had Larry Bird on it. They did end up getting a 1 seed, and they did go all the way to the championship game before losing to Magic Johnson and the Michigan State Spartans in that championship game. Obviously one of the more iconic ones of all time, but that Indiana State team did have a number 82 strength of schedule, which of course is much better than 285, but like I said before, there were a lot less teams in Division I that back then, so it is slightly more comparable. But those are all the teams we will go over that went undefeated. Before that, you had UCLA and Indiana going undefeated a lot with really good strength of schedules that just don't even come close to Miami of Ohio. But let's go over Miami, Ohio's resume now. So they are 30-0, and most people are saying if they do get an at-large, they're probably going to get an 11 seed, and they could even get a 12 seed if they just even win their conference tournament and finish the season undefeated. That is insane for them to still get a 12 seed at that point. They're number 87 on KenPom. They are number 52 in the net rankings, and they have played 17 Quad 4 games. 17-0 in those Quad 4 games. They have not played a single Quad 1 game. So number 52 in the net and a number 285 ranked strength of schedule out of like 368. That is not great, but the key part in this is they are 30-0. I don't care who you faced. If you go undefeated in the regular season, you deserve a spot in the March Madness tournament. Now, to answer the question of this video, which are they underseeded or are they an anomaly to the undefeated regular seasons that we have seen in past years? The answer of that is yes to both. I believe that they are an anomaly to those teams. Like, they are so different. You cannot compare their resume to the teams in the past that have much better resumes that went undefeated. But they are definitely underseeded and underrated. I don't believe they should get a 1 seed. That would be outrageous. But they do deserve around a 6 or a 7 seed in this March Madness tournament. I really do believe that. Comparing this team to other bubble teams like Auburn, who was 15-14, to Miami, Ohio's 30-0, other bubble teams like VCU, who has 7 losses, and Indiana, who really doesn't have any good wins other than Purdue, but has been losing a lot lately. It's just ridiculous to think that really any of those teams should get in over Miami, Ohio. I mean, this team deserves an at-large no matter what happens the rest of the year. 30-0, hell of an accomplishment. They deserve to go to the big dance, and if you don't think that they should get in, I think you're just a hater and you might hate fun. But another team that I did want to compare to is actually 2019 Wofford. Now, Wofford back in 2019 did not go undefeated in that season. They went 27-4, but they ended up getting a 7 seed that season. Now, they did have a strength of schedule of 122, so that is still better, but they had 4 losses. Now, they did play Kansas and North Carolina that season, but they didn't beat those teams. So those are 2 of their losses right there, yes, but none of their wins are really from that season are much better than what Miami, Ohio is doing right now, and they ended up getting a 7 seed with 4 losses. That was the team that really stuck out to me as a very comparable team to Miami of Ohio, because I think Miami, Ohio is beating all these teams that they are supposed to beat, whether they're close or not, they are winning. But if they did play a Kansas or North Carolina this year, like Wofford did, you know, maybe they could have pulled off an upset, but yeah, they could have lost those games, and I think it is very, very comparable. But Wofford ended up getting a 7 seed. I think that's around where Miami, Ohio should get. I think they deserve an at-large bid. Let me know what you guys think, but that is what I have come to in a conclusion of. I don't think they deserve a 1 seed. I don't think they deserve an 11 or 12. Stick them right in the middle at 6-7. Let me know what you guys think. Subscribe for more college basketball content, and thank you so much for watching.